Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It's Chris Thompson here. I'm with Natalie from Frederick Charles Property. Hello, how are we? How are we doing?
Great, thanks, Chris. How are you?
Yeah, not so bad. What's it like in Spain today?
Well, we've got some lovely weather today in Spain. We've had a super February.
Yeah.
March started a little bit slowly with the weather front, but it's gathering pace again now. So we certainly feel like we've broken the back of the winter.
Oh, that's good. Excellent. And of course, I'm sitting here in Denmark. So totally different to you guys. I wish I was on the beach, but I'm not. So there we go. It is what it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. So look, I wanted to have a quick chat with you really about the Costa Blanca North, an area which I'm obviously quite familiar with. As you know, I lived in Javier for sort of just over 2 years. So let's just talk about the Costa Blanca North, why it's a really, really good area for people. Your specialist areas, La Sella, Denia, Javier, Moraira. So yeah, over to you. Give us a...
Yes, so basically we specialise in Costa Blanca North, specifically in the coastal areas of Moraira, Javier and Denia. And then we move back 10 minutes from the coast into an urbanisation called La Sella, which is a really beautiful, well-structured urbanisation and very, very popular with people looking for holiday homes that want amazing views. And then we're lucky enough to move another 10 minutes back from the coast and enjoy the beautiful valleys of Orba and Jalon. And they give you a little bit more of a Spanish lifestyle, but only 20 minutes from the coast. So I think our area has an awful lot to offer. And the Marina Alta has a beautiful landscape, a natural, beautiful landscape. And I think that's what makes it a little bit different to some of the other areas further south.
Okay, great. I mean, yeah, as I say, I lived there for 2 years, and I absolutely amazed, was amazed at kind of the views that you get on offer, especially in the Jalon Valley. I mean, absolutely amazing. Such a beautiful area. And of course, the wine's very good too. That's always important, always worth mentioning, I think, if you're going to move to Spain. Some really good reds and whites. So yeah, it's an amazing area. So just go through kind of each of those individual towns a little bit, because obviously with Javier, you've got the Arenal Beach front. With Denia, you've got Les Rotes. So just go through a little bit of those areas, because clearly they're all going to offer something different. So.
Okay, so Moraira was a small fishing village that has been developed over the last 30 years, and it's been developed beautifully, and it's linked the pretty beach of Alportet with the main town of Moraira. And everything they've done there, they've done it on a small scale. So when you arrive in Moraira as a sort of a prospective person purchasing a property, it seems like a really easy place to get to know and understand. And there's beautiful restaurants, the infrastructure's lovely, and it is a really, really lovely location.
Am I right in thinking there's a duck pond in Moraira, or is that just me? Like at some point, I remember going up to El Portet Beach, I think, and just as you come up to El Portet Beach, there's a really weird kind of duck pond. I mean, it's great, but is that right, or am I completely barking up the wrong tree?
Sometimes there's some, as the natural water flows sort of from the valleys as it moves to the sea, there's a little bit of an area at certain times of the year that can look like a natural reserve.
That's
so
right.
You get lots of sort of children playing in these areas because you've got ducks and you've got some, I don't know, little animals in the area so they can catch little fish and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a really, really pretty town, Moraira, and I think it's got lots to offer from all age groups as well.
Good.
Javier is an area which is literally sort of 10 minutes away, has probably been a very well-established area for a long time, with both expats relocating here and also expats with holiday homes here. So we've got an old established expat community that's sort of interlinked with this Spanish community that lives here as well. The other thing about Javier is they've got the two British international schools.
Okay.
The reason that the Spanish came into it was that 50% of people that actually go to the British international schools are Spanish,
right.
And then a sort of mixed community of Brits, Russians, Belgians, Germans, you name it, French, that actually go to the schools as well. And that's generated a younger lifestyle within Javier as well. So you've got this older generation of expats, but you've also got this younger sort of younger family orientated generation that lives there as well. So there's sort of a really nice dynamic to Javier. And lots and lots.
The beach is fabulous as well. You know, I spent a few Sundays there, that's for sure. And I think for me personally with Javier, what I really enjoyed was just the promenade with all of those wonderful restaurants and the gastronomy. So
absolutely. And I think what's lovely about Javier is that you've got the sort of holiday aspect to Javier. At the same time, you've got a small old town in Javier. You've got a nice port area that's been regenerated and it's got some amazing views across the port as well. You've got a nice fish market. So there's lots of Spanish personality there, but you've also got that sort of comfortable network that you can dip into a proper international expat community.
Good, excellent, good. And talk to me a little bit about Denia then, because I think Denia again is one of those hidden gems. I think people probably hear a little bit more about Javier than they do about Denia. So talk to, I mean, from what I understand, it's a slightly larger town.
Yeah, so Denia is a working town, and it's a working town all year round, and you do see the difference in that. And actually, when you live here and you've lived here a long time, Denia becomes warmer in your heart. Because when you first approach Denia, it's a little bit like, I'm not quite sure about it. But as you get to know Denia, you see lots of facets to its personality. You've got the pleasure boat marina, you've got the lovely port, you've got the old streets of Marcos de Campo and the Tapas Alley. So there's so much to discover.
Tapas Alley. It's brilliant.
So you can't discover it all in one go. So when you first arrive there, don't let it be your last time that you ever go there. Keep going, because you will fall in love with Denia. And it's an old established town that a lot of rich Spanish from Madrid, Barcelona invested in. So a lot of sort of Las Rocas area, the beach area, the rugged beach area of Denia, they've invested there. But Denia, I think, has been a little bit of a hidden secret, but I think it's getting out there slowly but surely.
They've got a castle in Denia. Is that right? It's kind of, I mean, I've seen some beautiful pictures online whereby, you know, you've got the castle sort of, you know, standing proud on top of the hill, and you've just got the marina there, and just amazing. So
absolutely. So the castle is there, and you can actually go into the castle and walk the ruins of the castle, which I'm sure in the times of the Moors and Christians, which they do the parades, which are absolutely spectacular through the streets of Denia. It's all about sort of the Christians chasing the Moors for the last and final time out of Denia.
Hence the reason why I wouldn't have wanted to be there. I don't think I've lasted very long in that kind of in those times.
Yeah, well, you know, you have to be sort of open-minded about sort of what went on. But I think what's beautiful about Spain is they embrace the culture that was historic to Spain. And they still, you know, they allow everybody to celebrate that, because it is part of the history, and it's beautiful to see. And the amount of energy and enthusiasm every year that they put into their fiestas is incredible. So
good. So let's talk about a little bit about the cuisine, because we've mentioned obviously Tapas Alley, which I think is brilliant. We've mentioned the good restaurants and things. So I mean, obviously it's going to be pretty Mediterranean, but restaurants, bars, that sort of thing. What can people expect to find?
I think what you have to say about our particular areas, you can find everything you possibly want to eat. Anywhere in the world, it's available here in our area. I think what we don't see, which I see it as a bonus, is we don't see replication of British food.
Okay.
After restaurant, which I think, you know, if you're really into your cuisine, you want to have a sort of worldwide cuisine, because we are spoilt now with the foods that are on offer. But we do have a massive Mediterranean cuisine here, which is obviously embraced by the local people and also the expat community. But on top of that, if you want to have your Indian, your Thai, your Mexican, it's all available here. Your British, I mean, we all enjoy a British meal occasionally as well.
To go play the chips and some chicken nuggets.
That. But no, I mean, it's always nice, isn't it, on a rare cold day?
Yeah.
It's quite nice to have a Sunday roast or something available on your doorstep to enjoy. So it is available here. It's just not, you know, on offer in a wide way. You see more Spanish cuisine and international cuisine than sort of just British food being available here.
That's
so,
really good to know. It's amazing as well how many places can serve patatas bravas differently, and that's the potatoes with the sauce. But it seems to be everywhere you go, someone says, "Oh no, it was us that came up with the first one," and everywhere is different, which I think is brilliant.
I think it's a little bit like what you've been brought up on. So it's what Granny would have done in the kitchen. So whatever she would do would feel the right way to have patatas bravas. And I think sometimes it's a little bit disappointing because it's not the way that you first had it.
Yeah.
But then when you taste it, it's absolutely amazing. So I think you just have to sort of accept that patatas bravas is quite a unique dish in itself, even though it is literally, potatoes with some sauce in your But saying that, so is paella. We have very many different varieties of paella, and rice dishes are very, very popular here. And one thing about Denia is it was voted the gastronomic capital of Spain in
it was, wasn't it? Yeah. I think I read about that actually. And they have some Michelin-starred restaurants as well, don't they?
Yeah, Kika de Costa is probably the most famous one here, but there's a lot sort of following in its sort of wake, I suppose. And some really, really beautiful Michelin star restaurants are coming out and really showing their unique style as well. So I mean, what I love about the whole of Spain, well, our part of Spain anyway, is that you can go out and have, a really sort of budget meal that tastes absolutely fantastic, fresh local produce, and then you can end up in a real high-end restaurant with the best wines and the best seafood and the best steaks. But there's so much in between as well, so you definitely won't be disappointed as far as cuisine is concerned in this area.
Good, excellent. No, that's really, really good to know. I mean, obviously, food's quite important in life, so if you can get good food, I think you're partially set. So that's really good.
Absolutely.
So just going back to sort of the activities and things like that, obviously we mentioned Denia Castle, we've mentioned the beach, we've mentioned a couple of other points there. It seems to be that pretty much all of those areas are really, really good for families and family orientated and things like that. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think all of the areas are geared up for children. I think just by the nature of the Spanish, which is something that's an absolute blessing for expat children that are being brought up here, that they have this wonderful playground that's available to them as much as the adults. There are children in summertime that will be out playing, 10 o'clock in the evening and be welcomed into restaurants to start their meal. But you've also got the other hand, you've got the expat children that are sort of eating with their parents at 7 o'clock, then enjoying the beach from sort of 8:30 to 10 o'clock with their friends. So the absolute beauty of the area is that you've got nature around you, you've got such natural things to enjoy, but you've got lifestyle as well, and that is important, that you have lifestyle of being able to meet up with networks of people, of friends, enjoying meals out, having nice bars, having a sophisticated lifestyle around you, but at the same time sort of integrated into nature. So children can go and enjoy a picnic in one of the beautiful coves in Javier, for example. I mean, what's not to like?
Yeah.
And it's a really good way of spending the day.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it's amazing how time flies as well. It really is.
Exactly.
And for sort of let's go to the opposite spectrum. So let's go for people who like cycling and hiking and sports and things like that. Obviously, a lot for them to do there as well.
Absolutely. I think the beauty of it is we've got amazing valleys here. So we lots of cycling teams come out to this area to train in the winter comes spring months. So we've got, and it's because of the beautiful landscape, the beautiful terrain. So it's not just the valleys that you can enjoy cycling. Obviously, in all of the flat areas as well, there's beautiful cycling paths that have been created through natural sort of dry riverbeds, that sort of thing. So if you're into running, cycling, any type of sport, it is available here for you. I think the only one I don't know available, and you might put me straight, is cricket.
Cricket? I don't think the Spaniards know what cricket is, do they?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've got.
I mean, sorry to any Spaniards that are watching this, because I mean, I might have done something wrong there, but I mean, as far as I'm aware, I don't.
The only club that I don't know that's available, there's a sport called piddle that was new to me 12 months ago.
Okay.
Sold to a client that was absolute avid pickle fan. I'd never heard of it. And I thought, this could be an obstacle that we've got to overcome. I need to find a pickle club. And I found one in Havant for him. So there was absolutely no excuse. Great. So yeah, it's a bit like paddles. He probably tell me off for saying it's a bit like paddle, but supposedly it's a bit like paddle, that type of sport, which is popular here with the Spaniards.
So it's kind of an all year round, all activity round, all family round, all, it caters for everybody. Really, really good. That excellent. Yeah. So let's move slightly towards property in that case then. So just, I mean, from what I understand, the Costa Blanca North is probably, and again, you might put me straight here, but it's probably more expensive than its southern counterpart. But I think it's justified based on what you get. Would that be right?
I think absolutely. I think it depends what you're looking for from your property. Is landscape important to you? Is privacy important to you? Because spending a little bit more money always adds a little bit more value into what you're purchasing. Some people want to be, in a flat, walkable distance to community. So if that's important, then we've got areas here that are, sort of like Alpoblets, Alverhal, that are flat, and you can walk to beaches, that sort of thing. So we have got most things to satisfy most people's criteria. But what I would say is, if you really sort of budget stuck, and that's got to be your budget, then I suppose we would be very open with you as an agency and say, look, if you're within that budget, this is what you can hope to expect. And then you have to make your own decision whether you're prepared to compromise on the location to get a little bit more for your money. And there's always that balance, isn't there? I think most of our clients that fall in love with this area is that they fall in love with the area. And I think that's the most important thing. It's really easy to fall in love with a nice new build that's never been lived in, and you know exactly what you're getting for your money. But actually, if you don't like what's around you and you don't like the playground you're going to play in for the duration of your life in Spain or your holidays in Spain, then sometimes you're making a sort of bad decision because you won't want to keep going back there, and your family and friends won't want to keep going back there. So sometimes it is about compromising on maybe space or that ability to get to amenities very quickly. For example, you might be a little bit outside of the main centre, but it's actually worth that compromise because of the value it adds to the property that you can be in. So we go through a little bit of a sightseeing tour when we first have clients out, so that we take them around all of the areas that we specialise in and talk about what those offer and what that means in terms of value for money and location. And then it's really about the client deciding what's right for them, what's more important, So that's the way we try and approach it.
Good. So what am I to expect if let's say I have a budget of 350,000? What could I get for that budget?
Well, you'd definitely be able to get a villa. Okay. So you'd be able to get, you could get a 3 or 4 bedroom villa without doubt, 2-3 bathrooms. Probably you would go, I might want to change the bathrooms at some time, but you could have a lucky opportunity that actually, in that budget, that virtually everything was done. It would depend on the size of the plot. So there's lots of things that would depend on the view, but you definitely have a reasonable selection of properties with good views, maybe a compromise on a bedroom if you've got the good view, that sort of thing. So you'd have a good selection of properties to go out with a private villa and swimming pool for that sort of budget. Good. On the other side, you can also have an apartment central to town, or a townhouse central to town in towns like Denia or Javier, with good space, not much outside space, but your playground is the location that you live in then, because you're literally on the doorstep of the beach, the bars, restaurants. So it's that balancing act sometimes. But you can achieve probably everything you'd want to with a little bit of a compromise on certain things. If 4 bedrooms are important, but you want the sea view more than the 4th bedroom, get 3 with the sea view, that sort of thing. But we'd definitely be able to show you a nice selection of villas and apartments.
Good. And it seems to be, just looking at your website, which we'll mention later on, but it seems to be that a lot of or certainly within the areas that we've mentioned, there's no high-rise buildings, or certainly not anything above sort of 3 or 4 stories, which I think is really good. But a lot of the new builds that are coming in, they tend to be more villa-based with the new builds rather than sort of, big apartment blocks.
Well, I think in our area, because it's been an old established area for a very, very long time, that actually it's sort of just, it's had the odd apartment block, and we do still have them, but they're low rise. They've taken quite a strict approach to it in the Valencian community, that we're not going to make the mistakes other areas made and have eyesores. So I think that's fantastic for our area. And obviously more and more nature is coming into play and environment is coming into play. So I think however they approach development in this area will always be considering the natural landscape of our area, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of conservation here, and they're definitely moving in the right direction as far as, considering lots of aspects rather than just making lots of cheap, apartments or small villas. It's not what this area is about at all.
Good. It sounds really good. Sounds interesting. I mean, I probably don't have the money to buy one of these big new build villas, but if I did, I'd know where to go.
Well, the beauty of this area is literally with any budget, we can pretty much work within that budget, as long as you're prepared to compromise a little bit along the way. And that being, the reason being is that actually you've fallen in love with the area, because it is so important that the area suits you. Because when you're making an investment abroad, whether it's relocation, which is really important, but also a holiday home that you want to use on a regular basis, it's really important that you love this area and you want to discover this area and you don't get bored of it, as it's an expensive transaction if you're not going to use it for the long term. So that's important as well.
I'm gonna mention this anyway, just from a comical point of view. I understand there's a nudist beach in Javier. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're right. I've got friends that have, but I've never been. So yeah.
Brilliant. Just in case there's any nudists.
We've got everything.
Everything. That's great.
Everything.
Good. So just bringing it back to property, obviously. What's the buying process? I think it's worth just talking about that just very briefly. What is the buying process if someone's looking to buy in Spain?
Okay, what's wonderful about the sort of Spanish process is that you have a little bit more security very early on in the process. So what happens is a reservation agreement is signed if you decide to go ahead with a purchase of property, and a deposit of €5,000 is paid to secure that property off the market. And then within 4 weeks, the due diligence occurs to prepare a purchase agreement, and that purchase agreement is a little bit like exchange of contract back in the UK.
Right.
It will an absolute completion date. It will give you what's expected to be paid on day of completion and all those sort of things, and what you're purchasing. And at that point, you pay 10% of the purchase price minus your 5,000. Okay,
right.
So the beauty of the purchasing process here is that pretty much if you fall in love with somewhere and you sign the purchase agreement, a reservation agreement, and you pay your €5,000 to the agency, that property is off the market.
Right.
And I think that's a really nice piece of big difference to what we get back in the UK, because in the UK, you sit for weeks or months waiting to know whether this deal is going through. And the other beauty of purchasing out here is we don't have massive chains. So often when purchasing, I think I've done about 3 deals in all of my time being in real estate that have actually had, 2 people in the chain, which isn't normally that complicated.
No, that's really good. Actually, that does make a big difference.
It makes a massive difference. It's a piece of mind. You're doing something remotely as well. To think about the complicated chain process back in the UK when you're actually not out here to be talking to the people. So it does make it far simpler purchase out here.
Good. And of course, it goes without saying, get a lawyer.
Absolutely. We always make a referral to a lawyer, but what we say to anybody that, would prefer to go and appoint their own lawyer, absolutely, go ahead and do that. You have to do what's most comfortable to you. in any process, because it's your purchase. So the main thing is that you feel comfortable. But if you want a referral, we will make the referral. And we work with a company that has been in this area for over 30 years. So we couldn't give a better referral than that. Yeah. And we always say is, look, you'll always find somebody cheaper, but you'll definitely find somebody more expensive. We're real middle of the road as far as our sort of legal advisor that we recommend. And the main reason we recommend them is because we know they do a really good job, and that's important. And they've been around for a very long time.
Good, good, excellent. And how do people get hold of you? I mean, obviously we've got the website, which is FrederickCharlesProperty.com. How else can people get hold of you?
Well, you've got my mobile number that's on there. Do you know it?
Do I know it off by heart? In fact, actually, I think
you can email me. I'm available.
The last 3 digits are 488. Did that be right? 488, 388, it's something like that.
So my mobile, I'm always available. WhatsApp, I'm always available. If I'm with clients, I will always get back to you as soon as I've finished. We're very much an open door policy. We believe that it's really important in this day and age that if you've got any anxieties or any concerns when you're going through the process, that somebody should be available to discuss those with you. Yeah. So we do make ourselves available as a company, and the main reason is because I've been through the process with lots of different agencies myself through my years out here. And that is the one thing, when you stop hearing from somebody, it starts building concern. And sometimes, even if the news is only to say, this is where we are, it's so important because it's that peace of mind. And I think that's what we've always wanted to build with our clients, is that they have peace of mind through the process. And if things are getting a bit tricky, because sometimes they do, in as much as, you know, the land is slightly different to what's on the cadastral, we work through that. There's always solutions to this, but keep everybody aware of what's going on in the situation, and that's the most important thing. But we are always available, and we're there to support you in all aspects from start to finish as well.
That's good. Yeah. Good to hear. Excellent. All right. Well, look, it's been really, really good talking with you today. So thanks very much for that. Natalie's always around to answer any questions you have. Of course, there will probably be questions that you guys will have as well. So please go direct to Natalie if you are thinking about buying and you have those burning questions that you want to ask. And yeah, pleasure to speak with you.
Always lovely.
I told you there'd be a mistake somewhere, and I told you I'd be the one to make it. But yeah, always good talking with you. So take care, Natalie. And,
take care. Bye now.
Bye. Bye-bye.